Good evening and hello. Welcome to Mystery Monday, live here on Facebook, and thank you if you're catching the replay. My name is Lucia Visentin and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. I hope you are all well. I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas as well and New Year. This has been my first live back this year since the break. So like I said, I do hope you've all had a lovely restful break. I actually started back at work yesterday. So yesterday I started cutting out loads of kits, getting my paper shares sorted, ready to go. So I do have a couple of kits left over and still some paper shares as well, if anyone is interested. But also lots of things happening Stampin' Up wise as well. So I will go through some of that with you also, and a few changes for me as well this year in how I will be running things as well. Hello Lisa, how are you? Hope you are well. So a few things happening Stampin' Up wise is everything sort of starts on the 6th, so it's usually the first Tuesday of the month. So this month it's the 6th, which is tomorrow, so there will be a new product of the month. So product of the month again is if you spend $125, you are then eligible for product of the month and you can purchase it for $9. Last month it was some gorgeous designer series paper. We have our catalogue that is released tomorrow. So instead of just showing you the cover of it, I'll actually be able to show you inside, which will be fantastic. We have a couple of kits that will be released. And we have online exclusives that will be coming out. Good evening, Sharon. How are you? And hi, Natalie. Thank you. Another big thing that's starting is bonus days. I will get into that a little bit more. I'll show you a flyer. And like I said, my paper share is open as well. So that is $60. You will get 10 different designer series paper and a quarter share. So you get a quarter of each pack of those as well. So I might turn you around and we'll actually go through bonus days. I think would be a good idea. So let me get that ready for you to have a look at. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, so bonus days, it does happen most years. Hello Glenda, how are you? I'm going to say it was about the same time last year as well, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But what happens with bonus days is when you spend $90 on anyone's online store from Stampin' Up, you will actually receive a $9 coupon to spend on your next shop. So if you spend $180, you will actually get $18 to spend. So depending on how much you spend is how much you will earn. So there's no limit on how many you can earn. So it just depends on what your spend is. Just do make sure that you have a valid email address when you are completing your purchase, so you can go into your customer account and check that as well. So what will happen then is you'll get an email sent out to you. So be sure that you either write down the code or you save it or save the email so that you've got that code. Then you can actually redeem these coupons from the 3rd to the 28th of February. And you can redeem as many of those coupons at one time as well. When you are redeeming them and you're putting those codes in, just be sure that you do have a space in between each of those codes when you are redeeming them. So that is quite important, and do make sure that you use them before the month is up as well. Because once the month is over, you cannot use them after that as well. So do be sure to use them. So like I said, that is tomorrow, as well as pretty much everything else that's starting is tomorrow as well. So like I said, lots of things happening tomorrow. Now, one thing that is still available is our Virtual Card Retreat. And I did want to go through that a little bit more tonight with you as well. I have actually purchased this because I think it will be a really fun thing to do. Good evening, Rochelle. How are you? That was something else I did on the weekend. Went to the movies. I went and saw Wicked with Rochelle and her daughter. There you go. I knew I was doing some other things on the weekend. So the Virtual Card Retreat is 2 full days. So it's the 23rd and the 24th of January. And it starts at 8 a.m. and finishes at 3 p.m. So you get 2 full days of creating. Now, this retreat is $288, and I know some people have sort of said that it is a little bit pricey, and when you do look at the price, that's probably your first impression. But I did go through and I did check what value you are actually getting for that money. So when I went through, and I've worked it all out here, the product that you actually get is $240 worth of product. So there is heaps of product in there. You're getting a bundle, you're getting a stamp set, you're getting embellishment, you're getting a pack of white cardstock, envelopes, designer series paper, 2-tone paper, flip-flops and die cuts. Flip-flops, flip-flaps. Oh my gosh, not thongs, you're actually getting little plastic flip-flaps. So all of those added together, like I said, comes up to $240. And then when Stampin' Up is selling a class, they actually sell it for $53 for their 2.5-hour class. So you've got to remember this actually goes for 2 days. So even if I just add on that $53, it's actually valued at $293 plus, because you are getting more class value out of that. So the other bonus at the moment is when you actually purchase it, you actually receive, if you're opted in, you'll receive rewards, which are $28.80 on that sale. And if you purchase it tomorrow, or for the rest of the month, you will actually get bonus days rewards as well. So you'll get $9 for every $90 you spend. So you'll get an extra $27. So for next month, you'll get an extra $55.80 to actually spend, which is brilliant. Like, who gets free money to spend? Like, that is amazing. The other thing is you will qualify for product of the month. So then you can purchase that for $9 as well. So like, there is just, it is going, I think it's going to be heaps of fun anyway. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm actually making a card tonight using some of the leftovers. So we've actually been given a cutting guide on the back of all the designer series paper. So I will show you what I mean. So this is one of the sheets of designer series paper. And when I turn it over, we actually have all these little perforated lines, or dotted lines. They're not perforated, they're just dotted lines. Hi Patricia, how are you? And they're all your cutting lines, and they actually tells you what number card they're for as well. So when you look at this sheet, you've got this piece here and this piece here that you don't use. So that is all extra. So out of this kit, you're actually going to have extra cardstock to make a plethora of other cards as well. So there will be lots. There is also an additional supply list as well that goes with this class. Now, it does look a little bit scary because it looks like there's a lot on there. If you are an avid card maker, most of these things will be in your stash. A lot of them are ink pads, blends, daubers, blending brushes, masking paper, embossing powder. So things like that most people will have on hand anyway. This is actually available, I'm pretty sure, when you purchase the, I will check for you. I think it's available when you actually purchase the retreat. If not, I can pop it up on my, I'll pop it up on my site anyway, I think, just so that you've got it there anyway. So I will show you what you are actually getting in the retreat as well. So there are these gorgeous dies. and there is this stamp set. So the dies and the stamp set, and I cannot remember which one, will either be in the online exclusives or one of our catalogues that's coming up. So these two will be available to purchase afterwards. This one here, however, is exclusive to the Virtual Cardmaking Retreat. And this one here is probably my favourite because it has got some gorgeous sentiments in it, and quite a few actually. It's got 7 sentiments. It's got this gorgeous little script here and this beautiful little textured stamp here as well as the flowers. So I will be using this stamp tonight and the dies. So I will pop that away and I will grab the papers I am using. So what I'm making tonight is a double easel card. We haven't even started yet, Anita, but thank you. The stamp sets are gorgeous, aren't they, Anita? I do really love them. So I have written measurements on everything so we can go through it. So we have our card base, which is a half a piece of A4. Good evening, Vicky, how are you? Which I have scored in half at 14.85. I haven't burnished any of this yet, so I've scored it at 14.85 and 7.4. So that is scoring it in half and then at the quarter point. So that is the base of our easel card. I then have a piece at 14.85 by 10.5, which will be our base. And then this is one of the designer series papers, and I've got a little mount around this, a little border, sorry. This is 14.5 by 10.2. Then, to go on top of that, I have a white mount, which is 12.3 by 7.8. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of range there. And then this is the other designer series paper I'm using, which is 12 by 7.5. So that is the base of it. And then this is the little double bit. So we have this little piece here, which is 18 by 5.5. Now this card I have cased from Emma Goddard, and it's scored at 9 by 4.5. So I've actually got the fold from her, so thank you very much. That's our other little base. So then I've got 9 by 5.5. I've got a little mount for that, which is 8.7 by 5.2. Then another little mount, 7.5 by 4, and then 7.2 by 3.7. Okay, so that's kind of the base of it all. So we might even just start gluing some of this down so it's all there. I will keep measurements on things for you so that you can see them. Now when I'm, oh, that was a bit silly. I didn't need glue on the top of that, did I? That was silly. Let me feel that. I've used thick white cardstock for that. So let me just quickly cut another piece. Be careful, do think when you go to cut things out. I've just got to find my paper trimmer, which has disappeared on me. Here we go. It's all organised and tidy, and I don't know where things are now. Okay, so that piece was 14.85 by 10.5. So 14.85 by 10.5, which is what that is. Okay, so see, I'm out of practice. I haven't done this for a while. I'm actually going to put the glue on this section here, so then I know I'm gluing the right bit. So I'm just going to pop that there. Now, a good thing to do with this is just pop it. So what I was doing is just banging the base of it together. Old habits. Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you're when you're not thinking. I am still on holidays. I am sure I'm still on holidays. Now let me just get this piece out of the way because I don't want to get on anything. If I have that on my desk, I'm bound to get glue on it. Okay, we'll leave that there. Our first mount. Now, with our designer series paper in the retreat, it is one-sided, not double-sided, so you don't have to worry about covering up the back sides of the papers, which is actually really quite nice that it's only got the one side. And because it's only got one side, they can actually put those markings on the back so that you know where to cut as well, which is great. So has anyone done anything special over the holidays or the Prosecco? Yeah, I didn't have any. I can't even blame the Prosecco tonight. I haven't had any. Although I have been having my fair share of Prosecco over the break, I must admit, mixed with a little bit of elderflower, making a nice Hugo spritz. Yes, has anyone else done anything special over the break? I have a date with my Christmas tree tomorrow. It's the 6th, so I have to take it down, which is a bit sad. Okay, so that's going to go on there, but I will put that on dimensional, so I'll save that for later. But we will get to, and we can start doing this little one. Now with this one, I'll remember just to pop the glue on this section and not make the same mistake twice, which could easily happen. So again, just pop that down. Just going to open that up. I'm just tapping it just so both of them are sitting nice and flush at the bottom. Okay, and then we have our beautiful, it would be Old Olive, this one here. Yeah, we were a bit the same, Anisha. We did, we stayed home, so we didn't even see family over Christmas because they're all in Tassie. So it was a nice quiet Christmas this year. And then we are heading down. We have a family wedding the end of this month, so we'll head down. Oh no, that's not good, Natalie. You should have just left it there. Honestly, bringing it home is not right. So our next two little pieces. So the actual base of the card isn't very hard to do at all. And it's quite quick. Now it is a double easel, but I mean it's not taking too much extra time to get that all together at all. And again, I'm going to pop that on dimensionals as well, so I won't stick that down yet. I will get rid of all of these little bits. You had your daughter and granddaughter visiting. That would have been lovely. Sharon, it's always nice to have family around, isn't it? Hello, Jenny. How are you? Hope you're well. I hope you're recovered from Christmas now. So what I'm also going to do is cut out, this is one of the shapes in the dies. I didn't actually, so they were the dies there again. So I've actually got the biggest shape here is what I'm using in the dies. So I'm going to cut that from Old Olive. So I'll grab my cut and emboss machine and my plates. So my base plate, the number 2, we'll pop him in. Just going to put him on a little bit of an angle there as well, so he goes through a little bit easier. quiet and watching the cricket. Yeah, do you know what? That's what the two of the boys did here. So John and Cameron watched the cricket, and Dan and I, we did a bit of shopping. We're not quite so much into the cricket, Dan and I. So we've got this little piece here. So that I'm going to put on my first part of the easel, just as a little background piece. Good evening, Lee. How are you? So the next thing I'm going to do is stamp. So I have this big flower stamp that I'm going to use. I have got a do you know what? I always think I'm so organised, and then I go to do things. Here we go. I am organised. It's all here. I just hide things. It's all under bits. Because I'm using photopolymer, I do find, and especially with a large stamp like this, that your piecing mat is all important. Otherwise, sometimes the middle of your stamp actually doesn't stamp nicely. So I have just got Memento here, and I'm going to stamp that on there, give it a nice bit of pressure, and lift off. And again, I have my chamois. So we'll give that a really quick clean before we do anything else. Hi Kim, how are you? We can get rid of that, and I'm going to do some colouring. So the colouring I'm going to do today, I'm going to use a little bit of pencil and a little bit of blends. So I'm kind of going to do a little bit of a mix. So, and do you know what else I'm going to do? Just really quickly, I'm going to turn my heat gun on, and I'm just going to make sure the ink is dry, because I have found sometimes that it has run or bled, not run, and I feel like it might be because it's a little bit wet and I've done it in a little bit of a hurry. So let's see if this works. So I am going to, and I've tried both today. I have done light first and then dark, dark first and then light. And I actually think I like doing the light and then the dark. I seem to be able to blend it a little bit better. I'm not going to be too worried about how neat I colour in. So it will be nice and quick, because we do have a little bit to colour in. In saying it's quick, I still am going to blend them a little bit as well. I kind of tend to go in strokes. Now, everyone has got different techniques for blending. I don't really think there's a right and a wrong way. It just depends what you feel more comfortable with. And what I'm also going to do is I am blending a little bit here, but I am going to introduce some of those watercolour pencils as well. So if you're finding that your blending is not as smooth as you would like, sometimes using the pencils is really handy, because it can actually get rid of all of your little, well, my little imperfections. You probably don't have any imperfections at all, but I know when I colour I do. Yeah, I've found, Lisa, that when I have blended before, if your blends are really moist, and because I don't do a lot of blending, to be honest, I do find that mine are really quite juicy. So when they're juicy, I feel that they tend to make the ink run a little bit. So what I have here, that was Old Olive, sorry, that I was using before. This is Dark Petal Pink. So I have tried to replicate what has been on these on the designer series paper. Because these are so little, I'm just going in a circular motion and I'm colouring it in. Like I said, I'm not worrying too much that I'm not getting all the way to the edges, but colouring them in as best I can. So then I'm going to go in with the light Calypso Coral and going not quite to the edges, but nearly. And I'll tell you what, when you've not done this for a while, you do get out of practice, I must admit. So then I have got the dark Calypso Coral. So with the dark, I am just going to do the little centres. Now the dark is, there's quite a contrast between the dark and the light in the Calypso Coral. So what I'm going to do now is with the lightest that I used, which was the dark Petal Pink, I'm just going to blend that dark Calypso Coral a little bit, just so it's not quite so dark in the middle of those flowers. If you find you haven't gone all the way to the edges, now's a good time to go all the way to the edge. So the other colours I have are Dark Lemon Lolly. So with my Dark Lemon Lolly, I am just going to do the stamens on the insides of my flowers. Okay. And then all I'm going to do with these is I'm not actually going to colour. I am going to just go over the little veins in the flowers. So the two smaller ones I'm doing in the dark Bubble Bath. So this is a real cheats way of colouring in, I must admit. And then the large one I'm going to do in the light Blackberry Bliss. So then what I'm going to do is just on the bases, I'm just going to come in a little bit with the pencil just to smooth out those blending lines. So I'm not putting a heap down, I'm just layering a little bit of that pencil. And then I'm going to do the same, and this is the Calypso Coral. And it does actually give it a different texture. I'll do where there's two flowers together and do one and not do the other so that you can see. So this one here I've coloured again, and this one here I haven't. So you can see there's a little bit more depth to the one that's actually been coloured. With the pencil, that is. And it does give it a nice little look. Okay, so now I've done all of that, I'm going to fussy cut that, but I have done one before, and I did go another step with this one, and I don't know whether I like it or not, so I'm just going to ask your opinion. So this one here, I have just done the veins of the flower. This one here, I've actually gone around the outside of the flower too. So which one do you think would possibly look better sitting here? The one that's a little bit more white, or the one that I've actually coloured around? So that's our first choice tonight. I thought this one gave it a little bit more depth to the colour because we had a little bit more colour. This one here is only very, very subtle. So there are little choices there. I will leave that and you can tell me what you think there. I like what I just did. This one here then. Because it is softer and there is a little bit more to go round it as well. So if we like this one, I'm just going to quickly go around this as well. I think John just asked, did many people do any crafting over the holidays? Both but the coloured one, okay. I did, absolutely, apart from Christmas crafting, as in getting cards ready and gifts wrapped. That's kind of the extent of my Christmas crafting. I didn't actually come down here and do any card making though for, it was well over, it was probably over a week actually, it was probably nearly a couple of weeks, which was really funny. I actually came down and turned my computer on just to make sure it would still turn on because I was a little bit worried because I hadn't used it for so long. And that's something that kind of goes hand in hand when I'm crafting as well. I do use my computer a fair bit just for newsletters and checking Stampin'Up site. No time for crafting? No. Do you know what? When it's Christmas, it is, Christmas was full on, like it was only just the four of us, like I said, but it's still really full on getting everything ready. And I have two adult boys that still appreciate when everything's all wrapped nicely, and a husband that appreciates everything wrapped nicely. So I think that's, for me, the most fun thing about Christmas is giving gifts and wrapping them nicely. I really do enjoy that. And seeing people's faces when they open their gifts. So I do like to make sure that the Christmas tree looks really nice and everything is wrapped beautifully under it. Here's my little contribution to Christmas. Sorry, I've not looked at the computer at all to see comments because I don't have my glasses on. I find that I can cut better without them on. Not cut better, I can actually see better without them on. Cutting's not the issue. It's the actual being able to see things. Now, I don't know how many of you have your hands on the new catalogue as well, but how gorgeous are the products in there. I know there's a few of you that have been crafting with them already, and there are so many inspirational sweets in this new catalogue. I've really enjoyed my little bit of creating with it. So I've already got, so that's what I was doing on Saturday, was just finishing off our cards for our first class, our January class. And they were just so easy to create with. It's always nice having great sweets because when you really love them, it's just so much easier to create with then as well. It is a pity that this one doesn't have, there's dies for nearly everything else in it, except for that big flower. Oh, actually, no, on this one there isn't, whereas the other stamp set, there is, again, which I've put down and I can't find. But yes, the other set has got the dies, so all of these little bits here cut out everything from the other stamp set, which I'll find for you later. So, okay, so now we have that there. And the other things I have cut out, and I'd like to show you what I did with, I have done some fussy cutting ahead of time. So I've cut out this large piece here and quite a few little bits of leaves and some of the flowers. And I've done these in two-toned cardstock. So I wanted to show you what I did with these as well. So with these, I have a sanding block. Now you can use a sanding block, you could use an emery board, you could use sandpaper. There's a wet and dry sandpaper that's black. That would be really good for this. And I have just sanded the edges of all the leaves. So you can either do it on your hands like that. If you've got beautiful nails though, that you don't want to wreck, you could just put it on the edge of something and just sand it that way, because that will do it nicely as well. So once I had sanded all the edges, again I've done the same thing with the pencil and just given it a little bit of extra depth just by going into the bottoms of the leaves and giving it a little bit of colour. So let me show you one I prepared earlier. So that's what I've done there. So you can see all the edges are sanded, and then I've coloured the insides, the bases of all of those leaves. And I've done the same with these little ones, and with the flowers I did the same as well. So with the flowers I've done the same, but then with Flirty Flamingo I've just gone round these centres and just made them a little bit darker as well. Okay, so that's just a few little ways to give your elements a little bit more depth. So let's get all these out that I've done. And again, I did say these are two-tone cardstock, so you're getting the white core when you are sanding. Now I've got another leaf there. Okay, so this is what we have. So what I'm wanting to do now is we might just take that off for a minute, because I'm going to want that at the top. Now everything's going to go to the top of our card a little bit as well, because when I do the easel, there's going to be this, but there's going to be this other little easel that's sitting here. Sorry. So I want to make sure that all my features on this card are up in the top third, so that you can actually, 2/3, so that you can see it. So actually I could possibly, while I'm here, glue this little bit down. Yeah, so if I glue that, turn that over, and we'll make sure that we are centered as well. Da, 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 da. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it's going to stick all the way down there. So that first one is going to sit behind the base of that, and then we'll have a little sentiment for this other little one to sit on as well. Okay, so now that we have this one, I'm actually going to cut this in half. Way. Okay, so once that is cut in half, then we can just add a little bit top and bottom. The designer series paper I'm playing with tonight, Trudy, actually comes from the Virtual Card Retreat. It's some of the leftovers that we'll have from that. So on the back of the designer series paper, there's actually a cutting guide. So I've been able to cut the bits off that we won't be using for the virtual retreat, and I'm using it tonight to make a card. So unless you're doing the retreat, you won't have access to the papers, unfortunately. But it's a good reason to do the retreat as well. So I was thinking that that could go behind. And then we've got some of these flowers as well that we can pop in behind. So when you're looking at that, we've got that one there. Then I'm just going to pull that one back in again. That was darker than that one there. Sorry, I'm just going to have a look at it on the screen as well and see which one I think I like. Because I can kind of tell when I see it on the screen, because it's see, I nearly think I like the darker one. I think I nearly like that one. What does everyone else think? Am I being silly or? Okay, so we'll do that kind of thing. The other thing I did want to do as well is with this piece is give it a little bit of texture as well. So I am going to use that little script piece, which is this one here. And I'm just going to use some Versamark, so nothing too dark. And I'll just make sure I've got that the right way. There is writing on it, and it's not really legible, but kind of. So it's probably worth having it up the right way, I feel. Okay. Yeah, I just think the darker one's got a little bit more to it. So I'm going to stick this flat. And pop it a little bit more to the right hand side. And then I'll get this darker one. We might just use some glue dots. Dots are a girl's best friend. Yeah, it's funny. I think it just depends what you're doing as to which one suits. Like when you get it all together, sometimes it kind of changes. So if we're going to put that there, I'll pop that behind there. And I can go over this a little bit because we have the other mount that it will go on as well. So it doesn't matter that it's not contained in this piece here. So that can go that way. And then, like I said, if we just add maybe a few of these. Kind of about there, I think. So let's take your pick. Some glue dots. I'm actually just going to sit the glue dots up under there, so then I don't have to move anything. with this. Blue dot under that leaf. Oh yes, go ahead and play with them, Anita, that's what they're there for. Because they are really lovely. Okay, so we've got all of those there. And then I feel it needs something else. So I do have some ribbon. And the ribbon is actually still available, but it is on the last chance list. So this is a iridescent ribbon. And I'm going to cut about 50 centimetres of it. I do have some dressmaker scissors here and not just my snips, because what I want to do with this is I don't want it to be too heavy. So I am going to cut it in half, and that just makes things a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner. It will just look a little bit more delicate when it's that bit thinner. But a good pair of scissors is a must when doing this. So if you don't have a good pair of dressmaking scissors, buy yourself just some regular scissors, but do just use them for your ribbons, and that's all. Don't use them on papers. Okay, so I'm going to put that one away, and I'm also going to combine some twine. I'm going to cut my twine at the same length. And we'll do a little bow. So hopefully this works, because I've not done this. Let us see. So you've got that kind of thing. And that could then kind of sit under there, I'm feeling. And then we can put it all on dimensionals. So let's grab another glue dot. Sorry, I'm grabbing this one with my finger because I don't want to let go of too much here. Okay, and we'll get some dimensionals now. And that can kind of go there. So I made sure I didn't put a dimensional where the bow was, because that's already lifted it up a little bit there as well. Good evening, Sherry, how are you? So now that can actually sit on the front. So I'll put some dimensionals behind this. How's that for minimal? My goodness. I feel like there's nowhere near enough dimensionals behind that, but we'll go with it. It's a little bit whimsical, isn't it? We'll keep them quite long. I don't mind them being long. I'll cut them a little bit, but we will still keep it longish. Okay. Get this nice and straight. Okay, so we might just straighten them all up a little bit though. So that's part of it. Now we're going to do this front little piece. And see, and a lot of that bow you won't see once it's behind that. So you do need it to be large enough to be seen. So let's go on with this one. Now, I must admit I have gone ahead and done a little bit of this beforehand because we have, I've taken up a bit of time already. So I have used the happy birthday from here and the friend. And I have stamped them on some two-tone cardstock. And this one here I have mounted on some thick white card. So I'll show you what I was going to do with those. This one here I'm going to sit flat. I'm not going to sit on dimensionals because that's going to be on the inside of our card. And we don't want it too thick. Thank you, Anisha. And just decide what way up you want your flowers going. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do now is I've got happy birthday friend. So I was thinking I could go happy, then birthday, and then friend, where it's going to sit here. Or I can go and do the happy birthday both on this piece. It looks like my card. This can be your card if you like, Lisa. So I've either got happy birthday, and I've still got some of those leaves left and flowers. So, you know, we can put a little decoration or a little something extra down here as well. Yeah, there is a lot to this one, and it's not something I would usually do either, but because I've been on break and I've had some time to actually do something, I sometimes do them a little bit fussier. Not very often, but just sometimes. So I'm thinking I might leave this bit plain up here. I won't do anything else there, and I will actually pop the happy and the birthday down here. So we might go, I think Anisha made my birthday card today. So she did well. She used the Hobby Haven and had used a whole heap of sewing things on it. And that was my first love, was sewing. I'm actually a dressmaker by trade. Sentiments lower? Thank you. Yeah, that's... Seeing that it's your card, I'll put them where you want, Lisa. Pop that there. Birthday here. And we'll just stick that on there. So again, grab those glue dots. There. And a little bit behind there. We'll pop that in between there. Okay, and then lastly, we need that just to sit up a little bit. Good evening, Renee. How are you? I hope you've had a lovely festive season. So this one, I'm going to let that sit about there. I just want that to be in the centre. So we've got that, and then lastly, I do have some gems, but I don't know whether we're actually really needing any. Oh, do you know what? I haven't even had time to make it. You've actually just reminded me. John actually made last night a beautiful rhubarb cake. Yep, you know what? We might just go a few of these. I think they will go nicely on here. Get all of that out of the way. Let's get some of our mess here. So this is the front of our card. Sorry, I'm kind of going up too far off the screen tonight. And then when we open it, it's a little bit hard to open it on. So it's doing that kind of thing. So when we look at it this way, that's what we see. That's my little card for tonight. Something a little bit different. It'd be, I'm going to say, if you're posting that, you're only just on the limit, I reckon, for that, because it is getting quite thick. So like I said, all of the goodies that I had in this, the products, are actually from the Virtual Cardmaking Retreat. So if you are interested, do get in quick, because you will get it in time then as well. The dates for that, oh, here we go, I've just found the other stamp set. I knew I'd do that. The dates for it is the 23rd and the 24th of January, $288, but remembering that even with spending that, you're going to get $55.80 to spend on your next purchase between the bonus days and your rewards as well. But these were the other. That was the other stamp set I was talking about, all the dies, which cut all of these bits out. So everything here, the dies actually do cut out. So the dies actually go with the stamp set, which you will still be able to purchase later on as well. Any apple and rhubarb recipes? Yeah, I'm sure John's got one of those. So the other thing that I did want to let you know is I have my card class on the 16th of January. So that's coming up soon on Friday night. I will still be doing my Mystery Mondays every Monday night. I have team meetings on Wednesday nights, the first Wednesday of each month. So that will be in 2 days' time. So my classes on the Friday are the second, usually the second Friday of the month. Now on Saturdays, the second Saturday of every month, I am going to do a kit and create. So we will be making up kits here in person at home. So I will have kits for you to purchase here. And if you would like to join me, please do. We will do them at possibly 2 o'clock. But if morning suits more people, quite happy to do mornings as well. And I'm also going to start doing in-person classes on Friday, similar to Coffee and Card. So they won't be very expensive here at home. So one fortnight we'll do a Coffee and Card. The next we will do a fancy fold. And that will probably be about $15 just to attend those classes. It will be one card, and for an extra $5 you can make 2 of the same card. I will also, thank you, be having a catalogue launch on Saturday, and that will be at 2 o'clock. So anyone can join that. I will have some random prizes in that as well, and we will just be going through the catalogue basically for that one as well. So anyone is welcome to join for that. So thank you very much. Information overload, I know, but I haven't seen you guys in so long that I just had heaps to tell you. I hope you all have a lovely week, and I won't see you again now until next Monday. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. Much appreciated, and I will see you later. Thank you very much. Bye.